Salve, Mike, and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Vergil's third Eclogue, lines 44 through 48. But first, last time in the Eclogue. Here's our rubric. Let's go ahead and get started. Et nobis idem alchemedon duo pocula fecit, et muli circum est ansas amplexus acantho. Orpheaque in medio possit silvasque sequentis, nec dum illis labra ad movi, sed condita servo. Si ad vitulam spectas, nihil est quod pocula laudus. That is quite the response on Demoitus's part. But we'll get to what that actually means in a moment. We begin with a conjunction. Rather than saying and, I think we're going to go with also. It's like Menalcas has said, and this is, I'd like to offer these 2 cups as a bribe, not as a bribe, as a wager. And Demoitus is like, oh, also. But you'll understand specifically why I put the sarcasm in there. Also, nobis, this is going to be dative or ablative plural. So we want to take a look at the verb, see which one that the verb wants. Idem is the word that means same, and id, the I right there is going to be accusative singular neuter. No. Idem might be indeclinable. I don't remember. I'll have to put a note about that. Alchemedon, this is the guy we identified as meaning something like strong ruler previously. Duo, to pocula, this is a word we've seen for the goblet previously. And then here we have our verb. And as you can see from the E, this is going to make it into the perfect tense of the verb for make or do, it, third person singular. So then this verb does want a dative, it doesn't want an ablative of person. You don't use the person as the ablative of means or something like that for making a pocula, which then must be the accusative plural neuter direct object. Duo modifying that, idem also referring over to pocula. Alchemedon is going to be nominative, singular, masculine. As the subject of the verb, the not onu, mixing multiple languages there. O in is omicron nu in Greek, or not in Greek, it would be omega nu in Greek. It's a relatively common nominative singular form. Nobis then must be dative, as already said. So, made 2 goblets for us the same. Could be that actually idem is modifying nobis as an adverb. I'm going to check that right now. So it turns out my identification of idem going with pocula is completely wrong. Instead, this does follow the same pattern as is, ea, id, but the D, it's not doubled, rather there's only one. So this can't be the plural with pocula, even though it could be the nominative or accusative singular. Pocula is plural, so idem instead has to find something else to modify. Well, the masculine and the neuter appear identical, except that the I on the masculine is long, whereas on the neuter it's short. Can't really see that in this. So then, rather than referring to pocula, idem is referring to alchemedon, our subject. So the same alchemedon. Moving on into our second line. Et moli is not a verb, so that doesn't work. Circum, and there's est. We don't need to parse est, but then what is est connecting? Circum could be functioning adverbially, so it is around, but it is around what? Moli is the wrong form also to be our subject. This is molis, so it's going to be either a dative or an ablative singular, so we'll come back to that, though I will parse it. After much fumbling around and making really stupid guesses, I went back and checked the entire line again from the lexicon. We have an accusative plural feminine there. Amplexus comes from amplector, or is it amplexor? Whatever. It is a deponent, which then means paired with est. This is in this case, the third principal part, and it becomes active. Active in meaning, so that we have Alcimedon as the subject again. So he has embraced the hafts of the goblet with acantho, omoli acantho. So it's going to be ablative, singular, masculine. I'm going to erase the common, put masculine. Circum is still adverbial. Amplexus is nominative, singular, masculine, perfect, deponent, indicative with est. I should probably explain what acantho is. Acanthus is either a yellow flower known as bear's foot, which I would not have known without actually looking all this up. Not barefoot, bear's foot. Or it is Acanthus mollis, a white and lavender flower. So since Vergil's using these two exact words, it's more likely, I would think, to be the second option. Moving on to the next clause, Orfei, I tried to figure out what his name means and just could not locate anything in the lexica that would make any sense at all. So I'm clueless. It's out there somewhere. Somebody knows. If I went and grabbed the book about Orpheus, it'd probably be somewhere in the introduction, but I'm afraid I didn't have time for that. Note that que is not really the right word here. It really should just be another et, but what Vergil's doing is making this, he's been making these two guys sound very rustic, and so he's been fudging the typical standards of language. So this is how a rustic would speak, or somebody who's speaking excitedly when you're using the quick conjunction rather than the standard conjunction. So yeah, Demoitos is speaking very quickly, probably because he's getting one over on Menalcas. So Orfea, this is with the a in the Greek is going to be the accusative singular form for his name. In prepositional phrase, medio posuit is our verb, so this closes here, plus the ablative, singular, and medius, I think it's masculine. Posuit, pono, ponere, posui, we have the third principal part, it, so that's going to be singular, perfect, active, indicative, I don't need to say any of that. To place or set, so he set Orpheus in the midst. Que, again, this one makes a little bit more sense. Silvas, es for a accusative, plural, feminine, and trees. Sequentis, note we've got the Vergilian is ending with Silvas. This should be taken as an e, so also accusative, plural, feminine. Int tells us that this is the present participle, also off the present stem, seku. Then we get to perhaps the most cruel of all the lines that Demoitos says. Nec dum illis labra ad movi sed condita servo is the exact same thing that Menalcas said as his last sentence. So back on line 43. I'm not going to parse it all again. I'll just write out the translation. But oof, you have this goblet. Well, guess what? I've got two just as good. Now the last sentence that we're going to be taking a look at today. See if add prepositional phrase with vitulam spectas is the wrong form. Also, it's our verb. So this is taking accusative, singular, and A tells us that this is going to be feminine. This is the same vitula we saw previously that Demoitos originally put forward. Spectas, yes, this is specto, spectare, first conjugation, so this is not subjunctive, just a plain second singular present tense. So if at the heifer I previously offered you look, nihil, nothing, est, quod. This is a sort of colloquialism in the Latin meaning there is no reason why, or there is nothing what, there's nothing which. We might say in pocula laudes. Yes, this is laudo. Laudere? No, I think this is laudo laudare. First conjugation, which then means the es is going to be subjunctive. There is nothing which you may praise in pocula, specifically yours, not mine. Yeah. He's backed Menalcas into a corner, forcing him now to wager a heifer or a goat that is not his. He's going to have serious problems with his parents in the future, no doubt. And there we have it. Let's go ahead and take a look at this in its own context. Also for us, same Alcimedon made 2 goblets, and around hafts he has encircled with soft acanthus flowers, and Orpheus in midst he placed, and trees following. Not yet to these have I moved lips, but hidden I keep them. If at heifer you look, there is nothing which you should praise in goblets. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you have a very good day. Walde.